Obviously, when you get told by someone that you didn't do something, and you're the first person, a stranger, being told that you didn't do something, it is a big emotion release, and he broke down in my office. Welcome to Inside the Polygraph. I'm your host, David Goldberg, expert polygraph examiner. Join me as I and my guests break down the facts, fictions of polygraph testing, law enforcement, and so much more. Real cases, real conversations. The truth is always revealed inside the polygraph. Welcome to Inside the Polygraph with David Goldberg. I'm your host, David Goldberg. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about real stories about real people, from being accused to being cleared. These stories are real. They're individuals that I have personally tested as an expert polygraph examiner. The names have been changed to protect the innocent and to protect the guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you this, that polygraph testing, if it wasn't for polygraph testing, these individuals' lives would be in shambles. They would probably be incarcerated. They would have probably lost their careers, their family, their children, and their livelihood. And that's what polygraph test does. The stories I'm about to tell you, you may even relate, and you may never have thought about taking a polygraph test. I'm going to reiterate, though, don't just take a polygraph test with just any examiner. There are examiners out there, and I will repeat this, that don't deserve to be polygraph examiners. There are examiners out there that should not be testing people because they do more harm than good. You need to do your due diligence and check these examiners out before you go to them. Don't just choose an examiner based on price. Okay? You always get what you pay for, and check for whether or not they've done anything inappropriate, whether or not they've ever been sued, whether or not they've done anything wrong in their profession, whether in their past professions. Just make sure that you check them out before you get your closure for your important issue. Let's begin. The first story we're going to talk about is a very serious allegation that could have ruined this individual's life. And like I said, names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. This person named Sam was married to his wife for 25 years, and he had 4 children. He had 3 daughters, one age 9, and 2 twins, age 7, and a son, age 4. Sam was a very successful IT tech who worked for the government, and then after working for the government, retired, and then worked for a private sector who had contracts, multiple contracts, and he was very successful. And because he was so successful, his wife was able to be a stay-home mom and homeschool the children. During their marriage, like every marriage, they had ups and downs, bumps in the road. However, based on the interview that I had with Sam, he said that what he felt was his marriage was good, other than the little bumps in the road. And in this marriage of 25 years, he said that they had discussed at one point when he was working for the government of separation, but they worked things out. And other than that, that was the only major serious fault in their marriage. Lo and behold, what happened? He went to work one day after saying his goodbyes to his family, and everything was fine. And then he said he received a phone call from Child Protective Service. He answered it. Child Protective Service asked if he could come down to their office. He asked if there was something wrong with any of his children. That was the first thought in his head. And CPS said, no, your children are fine and safe. There's no major emergency. We just need to talk to you. Of course, Sam, not thinking anything of it, made the appointment and went down to Child Protective Service, where they informed him that there was allegations of inappropriate sexual abuse done to his older child. He was flabbergasted and told them, "Where's this coming from? There's just no way. He would never do this. This is unreal." So at that point, they put parameters in place where he couldn't be around his older child. He then went home, spoke to his wife. His wife obviously was distant and said, "I can't believe you did this to your older child. I want you out of the house." Of course, he got his stuff, went to a friend's house, and at that point, he contacted an attorney because his family meant the world and, of course, his reputation. His attorney said, "You need to take a polygraph test," in which he then contacted me. And then when he contacted me, he came down to my office, at which time, when he came to my office and he told me how many children he had and what he was being accused of, I had been doing this for so long, and the amount of examinations I've done on the same type of allegations, I informed him that I think it would be best that he get tested for the other children as well. Sam looked at me and said, "Why? I'm only being accused of my oldest daughter. I don't know why I should be tested for the others." I told him, "It's only a matter of time that you're going to be accused of the other three. It's best that you jump ahead and be prepared, proactive versus reactive." So he agreed. I tested him in length. Single issue examinations, ladies and gentlemen, are the most accurate. So I tested him for each child for the allegations that were being made. And obviously, he passed his polygraph test for ever sexually molesting or abusing his 3 daughters and his 4-year-old son. Obviously, when you get told by someone that you didn't do something, and you're the first person, a stranger, being told that you didn't do something, it is a big emotion release, and he broke down in my office. I then sent the report to his attorney, and I hadn't heard anything in almost a whole year. And because after someone leaves my office and I send that report to either their legal representation or to a client, sometimes I don't hear anything and I don't know what happens. Anyways, a year later, I get a subpoena for court. We went to court. Obviously, it was a big, long trial. It was a several-day trial. And I then testified based on my polygraph report that was submitted. And at the end of the week trial, it was found that 1, he won. He did not molest the children. The judge ruled he did not molest the children. 2, it was found that the mother did in fact fabricate these allegations, coerce the children to make these statements, and that she did have some kind of issues, either within herself, and that she just wanted power and control over her husband and take the children away from her. In the end result was that Sam got custody of all his children, and that the mother had to go to counseling, parent classes in order to even be around those children. And lastly, he and the children are or were, the last I knew, were in therapy. But what I want to tell you is this: if it wasn't for his polygraph test, if it wasn't for me testing him for the other 3 children, which he wasn't there for in the beginning, and then later on those allegations came about, if he didn't take this test, ladies and gentlemen, he could have potentially lost his children, custody, and been a father without his children that meant the world to him. So when people say polygraph testing can't help, or they do more harm than good, or they're BS. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a success story right there that proves otherwise. And because I'm an expert, because I know what I was doing, that's why it came out to win for him. And the truth did come out in the end. So what I'm going to say is this. If you are in any kind of situation like that, don't hesitate to reach out to 1, me, 2, an expert examiner that is familiar with these kind of situation and cases, and get your resolution so that you're able to get closure and crush these false allegations against you. And I'm not just talking about child custody. People get falsely accused of all kinds of things. Polygraph testing can help you in these matters. So if you or someone you know needs to resolve a false allegation that's being made against you or has been made against you years in the making, there's no time limit to get closure, ladies and gentlemen. Take a polygraph test. Get your integrity back, get your life back in order, and you'll be blown away with what a polygraph test can do for you and for your family and for others. I hope this helps, and we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Have you been accused of one of the following in your life, such as infidelity, custody matters, CPS investigations, or serious criminal matters that you're currently being investigated for? At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we have been helping thousands of individuals for over 24 years, no matter who you are or what you have been accused of, with the highest accuracy, integrity, and overall compassion to everyone's needs. We are not your typical polygraph or lie detection service. At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we are certified experts recognized in courts throughout the country, and we stand by our promise to give you full closure and all your needed answers. Call at 757-495-1301 and visit our website at www.executiveprotectiongrp.com to get started. Let's continue with some real stories, real people, and again, names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. This couple, Lori and Rob, they've been married for 12 years. Lori called me and asked if, one, do I do polygraph tests for couples? And I said yes. She said that she and her husband are going through some serious issues, that they're going through counseling right now, but she feels that she still needs more answers that she's not getting through counseling, and she feels that polygraph testing could ultimately help. And her husband was willing to take it. I explained in depth how the polygraph test would be administered for her husband, and she scheduled the examination. Both she and Rob came to my office. Very pleasant couple. He was not angered that he had to take it. He was very open to the testing. He, in his interview, told me how much he loved his wife. He admitted that there was infidelity in the past, and his wife was aware, and she even admitted that she was aware, but she felt that there was more to the infidelity that she was unaware of. Lo and behold, there was more information gained in reference to the infidelity and other questions that Lori wanted to know on her husband's testing. And of course, based on his openness and his honesty, he did in fact pass his polygraph test. The results were rendered to both parties, and they were very pleased with the results, and they left. Approximately, again, probably about this was longer. This was about 3 years later. I received a subpoena. It's called a subpoena ducis tecum, with all my charts, my recordings, and everything, in which I complied. And then I received the subpoena to come to court and testify. Lo and behold, again, I'm not aware of finances or anything of that nature in a marital status, but this came down to spousal support. They were divorcing, And obviously, Rob was a very wealthy individual, and the polygraph test was coming into play because of certain things that was admitted to, and the rendered results where he was saying that, he didn't say certain things, or that that's not true. And so I then testified. Both parties agreed to allowing the polygraph test to come into play. The judge allowed it, and I was able to testify. And so, lo and behold, at the end, Lori did win her spousal support. But that's not what I want to bring up. What I want to bring up is the fact is that polygraph examinations can be used in a court of law for all kinds of purposes, from infidelity to child custody to criminal matters to school board issues to military issues to whatever issue that you're going through. Polygraph testing can be used in all kinds of board administration hearings to court hearings to whatever, to give closure and to show you and others that you didn't do certain things, or prove that someone did something. So they are used and utilized for a lot of purposes, more than what people out there are saying. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're involved in anything, think this might help you. Let's go on to the next real story. This next real story is someone that's in the military. And if you're listening right now and you're in the military, whatever branch, this could be something that may have happened to someone you know, someone you work with, or even yourself. This is Petty Officer Rowland. Again, names have been changed. Petty Officer Rowland has been in the United States Navy for 8 years and had a stellar record, and was stationed on board an amphibious assault ship. And he had to take a urinalysis test, which every sailor, probably Marine and soldier and Coast Guard all have to do. And the reason why is because the Armed Forces says that no drugs are permitted to be used while in the Armed Forces unless it's prescribed to you. Illegal narcotics are not permitted. He took this urinalysis test and he popped positive. When he was told by the higher ranks that he popped positive, he obviously said, "I did not. This is wrong." And he called and asked if I test for the military. And I said, I test for every individual. Came to me. I tested him, and he passed, stating that he did not ingest, inject, or use any type of illegal narcotics at all while active duty United States Armed Forces. After the rendered report was given, obviously in the interview, it was found that in his 8 years of serving honorably and having a stellar record, he has taken over 50 urinalysis tests, and not one has he ever failed. So that says a lot about his credibility and character, number one. So obviously I placed that in the report because maybe the duty station that he's on didn't know he's taken 50 urinalysis tests and has never failed. And I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, that they only look sometimes at the human being. They don't look at the people running some of these lab results. And these lab results sometimes these people don't realize what they're doing when it comes to lab results, and they mix up the lab results together, and they make mistakes on the individual's testing, and then the people that take it get wrong results when they write down the numbers, which means that, let's say, sailor number 1 should have been the one that popped positive, but sailor number 2 got sailor number 1's results. And that's what happens on these a lot of times, because you're testing thousands and thousands and thousands of lab results almost on a daily basis. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I gave him the report. He turned it in to his command, and he had a captain's mass. And I know this because I was told this, not that I'm guessing any of this. I was told by Petty Officer Rowland afterwards that he handed it to the captain. The captain read the polygraph report, and the captain has the ultimate say. The captain, because he's the captain of the ship, he can either forward it on to having a sailor or an officer get a hearing to be released from the military, or if it's serious enough, a captain can say it needs to be charged for court-martial or whatever, but the captain has the ultimate say of any of his sailors or her sailors on board their ship. This captain read the polygraph report and decided that all charges against Rowland will be dropped and nothing further occurred to him. And when he called me and he told me, I was very pleased for him, but I was also pleased because obviously my results that rendered for him were accurate, and it helped him save his Navy career, which he truly loved, and I was thankful for his service. So if you're in the military and something's occurred to you and you feel that you didn't do it, and you know you didn't do it, and you think that a polygraph test can help you, contact me. I've helped so many military members of every branch from all over the country, and I'm here for you. So don't hesitate to reach out, and I will help you. Let's go on to the next and final story. Cadet McGill. Cadet McGill was accused and charged with abuse, sexual abuse, and rape of another cadet in a military academy. I will not tell you what academy, and I will not tell you what type of cadet McGill was. However, he was charged and he was facing expulsion of the academy, and basically his whole entire life was getting ready to be ruined. Obviously, when you get charged, he got an attorney. His attorney hired me, and I then tested him. When I tested him, obviously, he then took an extensive polygraph test, more than one single issue, about sexual abuse and about rape of this other cadet. And in the polygraph test, it was found that he did engage in sexual acts with this other female cadet. However, it was all consensual. The polygraph test was rendered that he did in fact pass his polygraph test, and that the report was sent to his attorney. His attorney sent the report to the prosecutors, the military prosecutors, and they then in turn sent it to the judge that was going to preside over the hearing. But prior to that, the female cadet was told of the polygraph test and then immediately recanted her story and then admitted that she fabricated and lied, and that it was a consensual sexual act. She fabricated for the purpose of wanting to get out of the military, wanting to get out of the academy, and felt that that was the only way to do so, and also that she had a mental breakdown. And if it wasn't for this polygraph test, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, where do you think this cadet would have been? Probably incarcerated. His life would have been ruined, and who knows what else would have happened to him. So taking a polygraph test, ladies and gentlemen, and I keep saying it over and over again, can help more than you can possibly imagine. And what's good about this outcome, one, yes, he passed. Two, he didn't do it. But what's important is that he had an attorney that wanted him to take it. And this attorney was smart enough to use every tool conceivable to help his client, in which it did. And the outcome came out that he was telling the truth all along. He never denied having sex with this cadet. This cadet was sticking to her story. She was afraid to tell her truth that she wanted out, and this was the way of her to get out, by making a false allegation against someone and getting all the attention paid to her. So I want everyone to also know, I could have brought a lot of other stories, and maybe I will on the next episode or next several episodes later, that not all polygraphs I do are passing. So I want you to get that right now, understanding that not all the polygraph tests I do pass. These are just some very successful stories I wanted to read out. I do, in fact, have a lot of people come to my office that do, in fact, fail, but they fail themselves. And that's because they don't want to tell the truth. They want to hold back information. And that's because they fail. And I'll bring those stories to you and tell you what those outcomes were. And they're legitimate outcomes. And some of those outcomes are that they're incarcerated as of today. And I can prove that they're incarcerated. And I'll change the names, of course, but I can prove that the polygraphs were accurate based on what happened afterwards. So again, ladies and gentlemen, polygraph testing by a professional examiner can do so much good for you in the very end, no matter what your issue is. I hope you truly enjoy my podcast. I enjoy telling you some educational advice. I enjoy talking about all polygraph things. I enjoy bringing guests on. I'll be having more guests later on. It's getting to be summer, and so you know what happens. People like to take vacations and stuff. So when summer probably comes to near end, I'll have more guests on, and I hope you continue to follow, like, and comment. And again, I appreciate you and all my listeners. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for listening. If you truly liked what you heard today, please be sure to rate the show, share with others, and subscribe for more episodes.